Right at this very moment, our forces are working lightning fast on Swedish boats. A new mysterious weapon bursts onto the scene. It breathes fury. The Russian general staff is in an uproar. Intelligence has figured everything out. There are traps everywhere. Ukraine is launching non-stop mine production. The Russians have been cornered, their top-secret electronic warfare systems exposed. The enemy is literally laid bare. All of this is covered in our episode Hellpoint. The sea is on fire. The Russians are in a panic. Our forces carried out a lightning raid on Swedish boats. Armed, determined, fearless. This is not just an operation, it's a signal. The Kremlin's control is dissolving like salt in water. Footage from the scene for the first time. This is a trap for the enemy, one they can't escape. Watch the full truth in the following report.
Naval crews are now going on active combat duty. They diligently monitor the vast surface and surrounding airspace, meticulously detecting drifting mines and potential sabotage groups. The armored CB-90 boats manufactured in Sweden are capable of making sharp turns and reaching speeds of over 70 kilometers per hour.
Thanks to its maneuverability and speed, it can perform a wide variety of tasks. First and foremost, this includes shooting down shades. We constantly monitor the air situation and respond to it as quickly as possible.
At the combat post is machine gunner Alexander. He has a powerful Browning M2 at his disposal. Its firing range is almost 2 kilometers. The sailor already has more than one destroyed enemy drone to his credit.
It is every man's duty to be motivated to defend his country. My family is here, several generations of my family have grown up here, and my children will grow up on this land too. I'm not willing to let anyone come here and impose their own rules on our land.
But the main thing is to preserve the personnel, because the enemy is constantly hunting Ukrainian sailors. The helmsman, the mechanic, and the section commander are honing the crew's actions on the boat to perfection.
When the air raid siren goes off, we have up to 1 minute to move away from the dock, because the Russians shell the shoreline and concentration areas, and we have less than a minute to react to this. That's why coordination is extremely important. Everyone has their own role, everyone has their own place.
And now a special unit of the naval forces is starting its work. Today the soldiers will carry out mine countermeasure tasks, in particular using an underwater drone that was provided to Ukraine by Western partners. The sailors have just received a message. At a depth of 20 meters there is a suspicious, possibly explosive object, and it's right on the sea route used by civilian vessels entering the ports of Odessa. First they lower a remotely operated drone underwater.
We are the first to approach the target. If the main camera isn't enough, we use the GoPro camera to see what kind of object it is, identify it, and only then do we understand what danger this object poses.
The initial inspection shows that it is likely a missile, but a detailed examination is needed, and that's when the divers get to work.
Divers descend to great depths and work with missiles that could detonate at any moment. Just like with those mines, there are many different types of mines with sensors, without sensors, seismic, acoustic. A drone can't show what a diver can do, just so you understand.
15 minutes of tense waiting, and now the divers are returning. The task was completed successfully, but they will have to come back here later. The object really does pose a threat.
We discovered remnants of a missile, which are explosive. So now we will continue the disposal of this object. We will move it to another location and neutralize it there.
20-year-old IHR from Odessa also aspires to become a diver. The young man came to the Navy recruitment center and has already submitted his documents. He admits that he has dreamed of serving in the Navy since childhood, and there are already sailors in his family.
You become one with the sea, you become a single whole, you find what you need, and you clear what needs to be cleared.
What were you thinking when you came to the center?
That I would continue my family line, my personal story, and my legacy. And let's say I will defend the country.
At the center, they say that serving in the Navy is prestigious. It means mastering the latest weaponry and professional growth. The most in demand are UAV operators, but people of any profession can join.
You shouldn't think that the Navy is only about the fleet. No, it also includes support units, logistics, and security units. Even programming, for example. So whatever a person did in civilian life, we will conduct an interview, prepare their resume, and offer their candidacy to various military units.
Today, the naval forces of the armed forces of Ukraine consist of the Marine Corps and aviation, coastal missile and artillery troops, the river flotilla, and the fleet of ships. All units have proven their resilience in fierce battles. At the beginning of the full-scale war, Russian ships would come right up to our shores. But thanks to the well-coordinated actions of Ukrainian sailors now, they're afraid to even show their noses.
In fact, as of now, we can observe that they are not present with their combat forces in the Sea of Azov, and they basically do not venture out into the Black Sea.
So it can be said that they have practically lost the entire maritime area. And the fact that they are forced to stay almost entirely at a single base, Novorossiysk, also says a lot.
And if we recall the use of naval drones, Ukraine is actually making history in modern warfare, and our naval servicemen are admired by the whole world. But the Navy emphasizes that the most important element in this formula is the people.
All the innovations we use to enable drones, unmanned systems, boats and ships provided by our partners, none of this would be possible if our people hadn't taken control of all these systems into their own hands. They master new and advanced equipment, they skillfully use it, and they diligently do everything humanly possible to achieve a decisive victory.
And of course, on this day, Ukrainians bow their heads in honor of every knight of the sea who gave their life for our freedom. From Odessa, Andriy Anastasov, Ayachor Miknoshin. Details, Intermarathon Television Channel, United News.
Ukraine's secret weapon is going on the attack. The latest air defense system is already changing the course of the war. The Rapid Ranger is a true predator going on the hunt for Kremlin birds. Moscow has felt it. Panic is growing by the hour. This isn't just equipment, it's a breakthrough in the sky. A new era of Ukrainian air defense. What can this death machine do, and why is the enemy losing sleep? All the details coming up in just a moment.
This year, Ukraine and Britain signed a partnership agreement for 100 years.
Together, we signed a landmark agreement, the first of its kind, a new partnership between the United Kingdom and Ukraine that reflects the deep affinity between our two countries.
The partnership agreement between the countries provides for strengthening ties, including in the field of security.
Ukraine and Britain are now closer than ever before. Today, we have reached a new level in our relationship, and it is even more than a strategic partnership.
With each passing month, our relationship grows stronger and the support increases.
I must put Ukraine now in the strongest possible position so that they can sit down at the negotiating table. We are doubling our support.
£1.7 billion, which is about $2.2 billion from the United Kingdom, will go toward additional weapons procurement. The funds will be directed to strengthening air defense. This decision was made by the Cabinet of Ministers. This was announced by Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal.
With these funds, we plan to purchase Rapid Ranger air defense systems, as well as lightweight multi-purpose Martlet missiles. This will significantly strengthen our air defense and our ability to stop the enemy.
The Rapid Ranger anti-aircraft system provides high mobility and rapid response to threats. The target detection range exceeds 15 kilometers, and the effective engagement range is over 7 kilometers. This system can be integrated with any command and control system. A distinctive feature of this module is that it can be mounted on either wheeled or tracked vehicles. The Rapid Ranger weighs less than 500 kilograms. The system is equipped with 4 ready-to-fire Martlet missiles, which will also be procured from the UK. The lightweight multi-purpose Martlet missiles weigh about 13 kilograms and have a 3-kilogram warhead. The Martlet missiles have a range of 8 kilometers. The missiles are guided exclusively by a laser beam, as they use a semi-active homing head.
First, it has a relatively low speed. The operator has enough time to aim at the target, and it's not even necessary to track the target the entire time, right? Hold it for 3 seconds, the laser system locks onto the target, and then it switches to what is called automatic guidance. As it approaches the target, the guidance switches to infrared mode. Yes, so when it's close to the target, even the heat from a piston engine is significant enough, and the missile will home in on its own. Even if the operator loses the target at some point, the missile will guide itself to the target.
The missile can hit various targets from lightly armored vehicles to fortifications, drones, as well as both aerial and ground targets.
If a strike is planned, for example, against an armored target using laser guidance when firing, say, ground to ground, then a missile with a shaped charged warhead can be used. If the target is infantry, a missile with a thermobaric or fragmentation warhead can be used. If the target is a Shahed drone, for example, then obviously a typical anti-aircraft fragmentation warhead with specially shaped striking elements would be used.
This assistance is significant because thanks to the help from Britain and the air defense systems they provided, such as the Starstreak, which are similar to the Rapid Ranger, the Ukrainian armed forces were already shooting down enemy Mi-8 helicopters back in 2022.
We were able to build a multi-layered defense that includes short-range systems like manpads, medium-range surface-to-air missile systems such as OSA and Buk, and long-range systems like the S-300. By combining these systems and building a multi-layered air defense, we really forced the enemy to back off significantly because they suffered considerable losses in aviation and started acting much more cautiously, but at the same time they became much less effective.
On May 25th, Kyiv and London signed a $1 billion arms deal. It was confirmed that the funds would be used to purchase foreign-made defense products and to acquire critically important materials, including products made in Ukraine. In June, the United Kingdom announced a record aid package for the supply of drones. We're talking about £350 million, which will allow Ukraine to receive 100,000 drones this year.
We are grateful to our British partners for their extraordinary support, which helps us bring a just peace closer.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Ukraine's explosive response. While the enemy digs trenches, our factories are producing what will bury them. Ukraine has reached a new level. Domestic mine production is gaining momentum. This is not just metal. These are ambushes for the occupier, scattered along the entire front line. The pace is insane, the scale is impressive, and the result is deadly for the enemy. How is Ukrainian weaponry born? Watch right now.
The front line stretches almost 1,200 kilometers. To thoroughly mine the entire front line, you need hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of anti-personnel mines.
And the entire line of combat must be mined. Cover everything with anti-personnel mines so that the enemy can't even get close to our positions. This is what needs to be done today and done urgently.
But where can we get these mines? For 20 years of participating in the Ottawa Convention, Ukraine diligently destroyed such anti-personnel weapons and continued to do so even after the annexation of Crimea and the start of the war in Donbas.
In 2016 alone, that's 1 million of these mines, the so-called Depestov. These are the ones we all know about. They're still from Soviet stockpiles. In 2018, it was also 1 million. And a year later, in 2020, again 1 million.
Before fulfilling the requirements of the convention, Ukraine was among the top 5 countries in terms of anti-personnel mine stockpiles.
Russia has never been a signatory to the Convention on the Prohibition of Anti-Personnel Mines. Just like the United States, just like China, just like Israel and many other countries.
So, replenishing the stockpile of anti-personnel mines is currently the main task. But there are not many countries willing to share.
Most of our partners who support us in Europe are signatories to the Ottawa Convention, and at the moment they cannot provide us with mines through transfers. But there is America and there is Israel. We'll see what they are willing to provide us.
Countries of the so-called Third World also have stockpiles of anti-personnel mines. Our experts do not rule out that there may be those willing to help even there. But who exactly? That information is classified.
Because Russia is also working to prevent us from acquiring these weapons. So at this point, it's not about public diplomacy anymore, but rather about the work of our intelligence services in searching for and purchasing these weapons around the world.
And our specialists are already modernizing old Soviet models that weren't destroyed in time. After being upgraded, the mines become lighter and their effective range increases. Now it's urgent to ramp up production volumes.
And for that, money is needed. And for that, production capacity is required. And of course, it's important to hide them as much as possible underground.
According to our experts, if there are no delays in funding, the military will receive a sufficient number of anti-personnel mines as early as the beginning of next year.
Because, as we can see, the Russians are fighting in an absolutely barbaric way. That is, they don't have that many demining vehicles, meaning demining equipment. They are basically clearing mines with their own people. And that's why, of course, we constantly need these mines.
We probably even need to hurry up. This is obvious, because there are threatening directions.
In one of these dangerous directions, the Rubish Brigade is holding the defense, the 6th Company from Donetsk region. Due to the intensity of the fighting, the equipment breaks down. Right now, they are raising funds for repair equipment for the vehicles.
The point is that the soldiers themselves, their heroic service, is of course unwavering. The issue is to ensure that they are provided with the tools specifically needed for conducting this kind of combat.
Our military already has technologies for remote mining. Anti-personnel mines will be delivered where needed by shells, drones, and special frontline robots.
This is not a solution to all our problems. It's not like we left the convention and now we've automatically won the war. Not at all. But this is one of the tools that helps protect our borders first and foremost, as well as the front line and our defensive fortifications.
Along with Ukraine, other neighbors of the aggressive federation have also withdrawn from the Ottawa Convention. These are Finland, Poland, and the Baltic countries. So the anti-personnel shield could stretch for almost 5,000 kilometers, from the Black Sea to the Arctic Circle.
This is a political decision that, in the long run, saves the civilians of these countries, because occupation kills far more than mines do.
Rostislav Sisoyev, We Are Ukraine, Marathon, United News.
Our intelligence is breaking onto the front with a new lightning-fast force. The mysterious stork has become the army's eyes, getting right up close to the enemy and sniffing out even what Putin's mercenaries try to hide. And then, volleys of fierce fire leave the enemy in ruins. This is Ukrainian vengeance. You can't miss these epic shots.
Let's start with the pre-flight.
The drone operator from the 118th Brigade, with the call sign Turk, carefully holds his stalk, which is about to take to the sky and search for enemies. The composite bird, the little plan, needs to be balanced.
Check. 1, 2.
And fully charged.
Here's the signal. Connected.
And while we have a few minutes, we ask the burly-bearded man about his life. Turk is 32, from Odessa, formerly a chief animator and a miner at the Pokrovsk mine. Where is it harder, here or in the mine?
But honestly, I'd rather work in the mine, if only there were no war. So, well, it's harder here.
Turk has been at war for 3 years now. All this time he's been serving as a drone operator. He's even gotten himself a tattoo of a Mavic.
This is my profession, the Mavic and the city of Leliki. I would have tattooed it myself.
Just like with the tattoo and the dashing mustache, Turk's comrade, nicknamed Horse, is always up for jokes and smiles. How do you take care of your mustache in field conditions?
My comrades helped me. They twisted for me.
The 34-year-old from Kyiv has been at the front since the very beginning of the full-scale war. He returned from Poland, where he had worked as a driver for a long time, to defend his homeland. Do you regret coming back then?
No, not at all. As soon as I returned to Ukraine, I don't know, I just felt somehow lighter in my soul.
The comrades get to work in a cozy dugout near the front line, preparing for aerial reconnaissance in the Zaporizhia sky.
To look for equipment, some...
Equipment, infantry...
Infantry, equipment...
Enemy artillery...
It's not that hard to find artillery, because the firing positions are always visible.
In these shots from the streams, the drone operators of the 118th Brigade are adjusting artillery strikes on Russian positions.
There will be an explosion now.
Yeah.
There's an explosion.
And here they're guiding an FPV drone onto enemy transport. The so-called liberators are scrambling for their vehicles.
I look at the wind. We always launch against the wind. Ready to launch? Let's start. Let's take off. Speed 19. We walk around the clock, taking turns there. If there are any goals we need to find, then we look for them. And if there are no such targets, then let's say we just go out hunting, because we fly high and far.
What do you dream of seeing through the Leleka's lens?
What do I dream of seeing? Probably I'd like to see a BUK and destroy it. It's been a long time since we've seen one.
The drone operators of the 118th say Just as our soldiers try to eliminate enemy UAV operators, they are also hunting for our crews. So camouflage in the frontline woods is the #1 rule.
They're hunting us too. Well, we try to be careful and not show ourselves in the open too much.
The scouts say that mastering the art of drone warfare isn't that hard, as long as you have the desire.
I had never dealt with UAVs or drone systems before, but I learned everything and now I fly without any problems. And I like it.
Currently, the drone operators of the 118th Brigade are raising money for autonomous power stations so they can quickly charge their reconnaissance birds in the field, and they're asking anyone who cares to contribute to the fundraiser. Andrei Pochatiev, Artem Deshenkov, Fakti ICTV, United News.
Putin hid this secret weapon for years, but the RDK stumbled upon it by accident and immediately exposed it. The classified electronic warfare systems have now been deciphered. These very scare tactics were what the Kremlin used to threaten NATO, but now it has fallen into its own trap. Access to the technology has been leaked, their defenses are cracking, and drones are already preparing to fly straight to the dictator's bunker. We will strike hard and precisely. Details of this major failure are coming up in the report.
They call their electronic warfare systems the best in the world.
Russia possesses some of the most powerful electronic warfare systems in the world.
Target detected.
Russian occupiers intimidate NATO, claiming that all of the alliance's aviation, space, radar and other systems will be disabled.
They will all be simultaneously disabled by Russia's electronic warfare means.
The enemy's electronic warfare systems are actively operating on the front line, and because of their effects, Ukrainian drones often fail to reach their targets.
Control channel detected.
A control channel for an unmanned aerial vehicle detected. When detected, we activate jamming.
But is Russian electronic warfare really as powerful as it's made out to be, and what can be used to disable it?
Russian electronic warfare is operational. Due to their numerous devices, they create significant obstacles. However, these obstacles pertain exclusively to the direction actively developed other countries, NATO countries.
These exclusive shots with data on enemy electronic warfare systems were shown to us by representatives of the Russian Volunteer Corps. The soldiers, who have been fighting against Putin's regime since August 2022, declassified the parameters of the systems and gained access to important information.
The work was carried out.
The work took about 8 months. It was very difficult. We didn't just involve a large number of people, but the result actually even exceeded our expectations.
The ship-based station Anchor-K, the Russian electronic warfare complex Terada to SS, the coastal station Ozon. These are relatively new, as Kremlin lackeys boast powerful electronic warfare systems designed to disable satellites, suppress navigation and communication. However, in reality, they are vulnerable, as assured by the RDK.
Ozon is a system...
Ozon is a system that operates using so-called over-the-horizon technology. There are a lot of technical aspects there, simply related to basic elementary physics. This system allows for influence on objects beyond the horizon, below the horizon line, using certain tools. But the system is extremely raw. It absolutely cannot withstand temperature changes, and if the humidity level exceeds 68%, that's it stops working.
The RDK explains, any electronic warfare system is not just hardware, it's about modes, frequencies, heat dissipation and algorithms. By learning the parameters of electronic complexes, you can deceive the enemy, blind him, and an eagle without sight loses its strength.
We managed to understand.
We managed to grasp the entire architecture. These are all the institutes, the vectors of direct scientific development. How it is applied, what plans are laid out, why it is tested, and what is needed for this. The economy, the entire system as a whole.
Narrator. They also know the routes along which the occupiers move their powerful electronic warfare systems, and this definitely undermines Russia's security. After all, Ukrainian drones and missiles will be able to avoid electronic traps and destroy targets in the enemy's rear more effectively.
Alexander, undoubtedly it will be much easier. In any case, when we understand what the enemy is doing and how they are doing it, we can prepare some countermeasures in advance. By intercepting certain signals, by intercepting traffic, we understand that this particular system is located here.
Narrator. Alexander explains that the operation to declassify data on Russian electronic warfare systems was made possible thanks to the so-called mole farm, that is, people who mostly worked for money.
Alexander, in reality, there are people who perform some minor functions within a large operation. These are people who work in the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, people who work in various units, people who work at test sites, including those who work in research institutes, involved in development, almost everything is done for money, let's put it that way.
Narrator. The RDK knows the names of those who implemented their formulas into the electronic warfare systems.
Alexander, we know everything about these people. Their last names, first names, passport details, and where they work. All these people are guilty of this. No matter what, they are guilty of the shelling. They are directly involved in the war. And all these people must be held accountable.
Narrator. Obviously many of our viewers will have a question. Why talk about all this? The enemy could use this information to improve their electronic warfare system. However, the RDC assures that this isn't just software on a flash drive or a gun in a store. It takes years, people, and billions of dollars.
Alexandra, the information is already out there, and in order to...
Narrator, the information is already available. And in order to restructure the logic and architecture of the system itself, Russia will no longer be able to shut down dozens of research institutes or replace staffs numbering in the tens, or possibly even hundreds of thousands of people. They will no longer be able to catch up in the context of modern warfare, where everything is developing so rapidly. That is, the tools that were used on the front 3 or 4 months ago may already be completely ineffective today. Narrator. The RDK says that Russia should start thinking about its own security. All the more so because such operations inside the aggressor country will continue in the future.
Alexander, we will try to do it more often, better, and on a larger scale.
Mikhailo Manelyuk, Alexander Krulikov, Serhiy Kilimnik, details on Inter-Television channel United News Marathon.
Darina, that's all from me for now. This was me, Darina Hutsakalo. There will be even more explosive news from the front in our next episode. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you soon!